Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eternal Spring. I'm Paul Thrott, and I'm here again with my wife, Stephanie, this time for the first time from our apartment in Roma Norte. Hooray.
Hey, hooray.
Please excuse the plain white backgrounds and also probably the substandard audio, but we wanted to address this issue. Obviously, we've bought this apartment, and there was an article in the LA Times maybe a month ago now, sometime fairly recently, called "Californians and Other Americans Are Flooding Mexico City. Some locals want them to go home." And predictably, this story has been forwarded to me by about a dozen people who are curious about what we think about it. I will say, if you're interested in this article, it is behind a paywall. You could probably find it online, but there's an incredible article on Medium that serves as a retort to this article that is absolutely worth reading. And we'll link to that in the description. But I'm curious. I mean, we've talked about this obviously, but maybe you could tell people, what you think about it.
Yeah, so I think it's a really interesting question and an interesting point because clearly there are neighborhoods in Mexico City that are attractive to expats. They have, they have the restaurants and the good Wi-Fi connections and the coffee shops and the trendy stores that make it a fun place to visit. And all those things do drive up costs.
The low prices, for Americans.
Yes,
and for other foreigners, not just Americans, right? But Europeans as well, I would say.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Sure. I would say, my number one top impression is, we've been coming here for a year. We've spent time this year. I've been here for a couple of weeks in January. We were out for a week in March. We were out for a week or so in May. I was out with Kelly for a week in June, and we're here now for another week. I personally have not experienced anything but, fantastic reactions from Mexican people that I've interacted with, from people on the street who just want to help you if you seem confused or lost, to people who work with you in a restaurant. I haven't had any eye rolling at my really poor Spanish or my, lack of understanding of what they're saying. It's been a 100% positive experience. I have, however, seen Americans behaving badly in a lot of situations. And I think that Americans like us who try our best to be respectful of people and the culture here, when we see people in the height of COVID walking down the street without wearing masks and speaking English, so clearly American. I mean, when you see people in restaurants misbehaving, misbehaving is a strong word. They're not children, but they're not behaving appropriately.
They're acting like children. We had that experience in our favorite sushi restaurant the other night where a group of 5 Americans came in, were being really loud, and they were making videos of the people making sushi, leaning over the sushi bar with their cameras and their bodies, laughing and screaming, and as if they had never seen sushi before.
I almost thought they were going to stand right up on the sushi bar just to get a better angle of the chef.
It was just crazy.
Yeah.
So the central premise of the LA Times article is that locals want these people to go home. From my perspective, there is a problem with Americans flooding this area and Europeans. And it's reasonable for people like us to reflect a little bit on what impact we're having on this place. I mean, this is something we do think about. But there's also a big difference, I think, between us and the people that are the subject of the complaint. Because like you said, we are respectful and we're trying to be, or at least we're trying to be. We're not perfect, but we're not overly loud. We're not obnoxious. We don't expect people to speak English, that kind of thing. It's amazing to me how many times people have apologized to us for speaking poor English when in fact they speak wonderful English. And we have a kind of a running gag now where we will say it's okay, we don't speak Spanish very well either, and it's wonderful. We spoke in a previous video about the experience we had on the metro and how so many people tried to help us. That's a great example. The thing that's most striking to me, and this has happened over the past couple of trips, we start heading out into our neighborhood and we go to local restaurants and bars, and we meet people, and they're like you said, 100%. And I want to be clear, literally 100% wonderful, just like you said. And someone will say to us, you know, the owner of the restaurant in one case, actually maybe both cases, I guess, has said to us, you are always welcome here. This is your home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disarming. I mean, how wonderful they are and how nice
Mm-hmm.
they are. And I don't know that they would afford that speech to the people who are being disrespectful, but actually you have an interesting example of people being disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At
And
a
not
little,
getting that.
right, at a little local taco shop near here. I was sitting sitting there with Kelly, and we were talking to a couple of people who were from England, and they in turn asked the chef there. They were younger. He was younger. They were looking for places to go. Good time at night, and the chef clearly had his own places and his own friends and his own groups that he wanted to kind of keep private and not share with expats or share with other people. And they just really kept pushing it. They were like, where do you want to go? Where do you like to go at night? And he was really vague. He said, bars, clubs, parties. And, I mean, it was
Yeah.
pretty clear just from that answer that he didn't want to go into a lot of detail, but then they pushed him and he finally said the name of one bar in really fast Spanish. And they said, oh, can you spell that? And he says, no, I don't remember how.
That is amazing. Yeah, he didn't want the bro squad showing
rude
up
as
at
he
his.
could, as clear as he could be. Like he really didn't want to be rude, but he also really didn't want to, share his own local spots with foreigners. And and I think it's an interesting point that, and part of this I don't think I mentioned earlier. This was one of those places where the people have said, this is your home, you're always welcome here.
Right. That's right.
When I went to the same place this week with Mark, he apologized for not recognizing me from my 2 visits in June.
Oh boy. Sure. And that's the thing, we've been recognized multiple times by people, which is astonishing, given the amount of time I mean, for us, it's a lot of time to come, but given all the people they would see, it's astonishing. I would never expect that.
No, I mean, how many thousands of people have to have been in and out of that place in 2 months to, for him to and I wasn't even with the same person I was with last time.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the point. In the many years that we went to Europe every summer and throughout the year, it was always a little disappointing to me to be standing on a street corner in Paris in July or August and only hearing American English all around me, right? Part of the reason I wanted to be there was to experience that place, the culture, have that experience. And you see a little bit of that's happening here as well. You hear a lot of American, UK English, or your other European languages out in the street. And it's, you kind of want to immerse yourself in the Mexican, Spanish aspects of this place, which is everything, I guess. But in our experience, we're worried about, we don't want to be that ugly American. We've never wanted that. We've never been that on purpose. We've certainly tried. I'm sure we've made mistakes, but I think a little bit of respect goes a long way. And especially in a culture like this, where the people are just so universally happy and nice and wonderful, I think it really makes a big difference, or it could make a big difference. And I think the thing I would say to the people who are visiting here, if you're a digital nomad who's going to kind of come and go, you might be here for days, weeks, or maybe even months. Just be respectful. It's not that hard. We sit in cafes, restaurants, and bars, and we see these people wearing shorts, flip-flops, their MacBooks, connecting to the free Wi-Fi, being loud, talking on their phones like it's a walkie-talkie, that kind of stuff, or being really disruptive, like those people in the restaurant, in the sushi restaurant. But honestly, the central point of that LA Times article is wrong. It's not the locals that want people like us to go home, or people like them, I guess. It's people like us. It's the Americans who are being respectful, or the other people, right? And in a strange way, the friendliness, the niceness of the people here contributes to the problem. I'm sure there are people here who don't want us here or don't want any Americans or foreigners. I'm sure there are.
Mhm.
But the people you meet on the street, like you said, universally are so nice. They kind of put up with this behavior in a way that you would not see in Europe. You know, if people were behaving badly in a cafe, restaurant, or bar in Paris, for example, the people who work there would not put up with that.
Right. Yeah. Mhm.
And it's an interesting problem that the people here are almost too nice.
Mhm.
And look, from my perspective, you don't take advantage of that. You don't abuse it.
Right.
This is a rare, I don't know of any place like this. I don't think we've ever been any place. We've had
Mhm.
good experiences everywhere, of course. We have wonderful stories about France and Paris and Barcelona and wherever else. But universally, the people here are just incredible.
Mhm. And I also think, we've talked a little bit about being respectful and respecting the culture and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's not that hard. It's
it's not
just
that
kind
hard.
of being a normal, good person. There are not a big
Yeah,
list of cultural rules that you have to follow, or people are going to look down on you. Just,
yeah.
you need to say hi and good morning and, you know, greet people and smile at people. And
And by the way, do that in Spanish, right? Learn
Mhm.
the basics.
Mhm.
Learn. We were talking to Mark, our son, about this. I'm not fluent in Spanish. You're getting there, and we'll hopefully collectively we'll both get there at some point. But we know enough to say hello and goodbye in different times of the day, because there are different greetings and farewells. And we have what I call kind of menu Spanish, where we can at least walk into a restaurant for the most part, get through a menu and be able to order and
Mhm.
do that without any help. It matters though, right? Because the people here are so wonderful, they'll help.
Right.
We've had
Yep.
people offer to read us entire menus if that's what we wanted.
Mhm.
Um, but the point is, you got to make the effort. The people here are going to make the effort. They always will.
Mhm.
Return the favor. Yeah,
Yep.
it's just
Right.
common sense.
Mhm. Right.
So anyway, we just wanted to address this. I think there's a broader issue about maybe what the impact we're having, because we did buy the place. We are going to spend a lot of time here. I don't think we're ever going to live here full time per se, but we intend to maybe over time split our time between here and the United States. And maybe in the future we should examine that a little bit further. What maybe we can do to lessen our impact or lessen our negative impact. I mean, I think there's some positive things we can do here for the locals by spending money locally,
Mhm.
supporting local businesses, and that kind of thing. But it's a big topic. I mean, maybe this is something we
Yes.
should look at more in the
Right.
future.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I
Anywho,
think today it's more of just a response to what we've
yeah,
seen in the LA
yeah,
Times and the well-written Medium article that um,
right,
kind of
right. Yeah,
took apart the
definitely read
points in
that.
the LA Times.
That's right. So I'm excited that we finally got to do a little video from here.
Mhm.
I'm sorry this was the topic, but needed to be addressed. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back later.